Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Nerd Chat here on Electro Ninja's Lab. And I am here with my fellow host,
I'm Jack.
and Joker will not be joining with us. He apparently has things to do. But yeah, so we're all very happy for the fact that he finally got a job.
Yes, we're thrilled, and I'm sure he's thrilled as well.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to be talking about Pokemon today, specifically Pokemon Legends ZA.
And playing Pokemon together, theoretically.
Theoretically, um, we'll see how that turns out. Probably will be fine. Let me just mute this really quick. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's muted. So yeah, so obviously we still don't have much information about Legends ZA, but one thing that I would like to think about is what do you kind of expect from the game? Because a lot from what we've heard at this point in time.
Oh, what the fuck?
What's up?
I just, in Surprise Trade, got a Drillbur with a Stellar Terra.
Oh, fun. That's not too hard to do.
No, but I haven't finished the game yet, Zephram.
Oh, yeah, that is weird then.
Right? This is not Violet, this is Scarlet.
Weird. That is out of this world.
Haha, I see what you did there.
Not completely intentional, but at the same time, kind of funny. But yeah. Where am I
Not
going?
completely intentional, you're full of shit.
So yeah, this is you're playing Scarlet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know. It's so. Basically, at this point in time, what we know about Pokemon Scarlet is, or not Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Legends ZA is that it's all going to be taking place in Lumio City. So, what do you think that's gonna mean? Do you,
Well,
sorry.
I'm trying to imagine, because when you have a city, there's a few things that are true about cities in general.
Yeah.
And one of the things that have been true about cities in Pokemon for the last 30 years has been that there aren't Pokemon in the cities.
Yeah.
So, I am wondering if it is going to be the rebuilding, where we're using things like Machop to rebuild.
Yeah. And I think that's a definite possibility because one thing that kind of happened with Arceus is that you would gather Pokemon, and while some of them absolutely were for you, many of them were actually more intended for the random citizens throughout the town.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering if that's going to be even more of a thing that they're going to do. But I'm also wondering if they're kind of while they're saying it's all going to be taking place in Lumio City, maybe that's more of like that's the majority of the story, and then maybe you'll go out on like excursions or something into areas that are kind of related to different areas around Kalos.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to happen.
But I also feel like there's
I
definitely
got a
going to be
German girl.
some Pokemon in the main city because it's like it sounds like it probably was destroyed or some shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's so so a few things though that I'm kind of thinking about is like um for one, how do you think we're going to be how do I put this? Do you think they're still going to use the battle mechanics and such from Arceus?
I don't know. I would hope so, honestly.
Yeah.
They were really, really good, so I was not upset about that. And I want that was some of the things that I wanted in Scarlet and Violet was the battle mechanics for from Scarlet or from Arceus,
Yeah.
wherein I didn't have to deal with Okay, well, do I want to fight this? No, I can just catch it. That's nice.
Yeah, and I think that was like that was probably one of the smartest decisions that they did in Arceus. Um, like even though I would say it was probably easier to catch things if you did battle them first, but well, in certain situations. Um, but if you did like certain if you were able to stun it or whatever, then you would still be able to get it pretty easily.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Needless to say, I really am hoping that they do really well with this game, but I'm also not
Hmm.
certain exactly how they're going to handle it. I kind of wish that there was another trailer. To be honest, not just the quick little like none of what we saw in that trailer is necessarily going to be in the actual game.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be. We just need to be patient, honestly.
Yeah. Also, another thing that I'm curious about: do you think that there's going to be another game um, between Scarlet and Violet and Legend ZA?
I sincerely hope not.
Fair. But because my thinking with that as to why it's a possibility is because obviously it's not going to be coming out until 2026, which the thing that I'm thinking about that is probably because they want to wait because the Nintendo Switch 2 whatever it's going to be called, that's what it's going to be
Yeah.
on,
Uh-huh.
because at this point in time they've confirmed that it will be coming that is going to get announced this fiscal year.
Which is anytime before July, so.
Yeah. So like so it's not going to be in the next Nintendo Direct, which is going to be in June, but it will be pretty much any time between uh, uh, for the next year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's needless to say, it's going to be interesting when they eventually reveal it. So it's not going to be so like I said, it's not going to be this next month. Where they're going to have a trailer for that. So my wondering then is when they have the reveal trailer, are they going to have a full trailer for Legend ZA in that in the reveal direct, whatever it's gonna
Maybe.
whatever it's gonna be. Also, what other games do you think are going to be coming out to start off with the Switch or the Switch 2, whatever it's
I
gonna
have a
be.
feeling they're going to do another version of Mario Kart, just because they always do that with a new console.
Yeah. Although it might just
Um,
like Mario Kart 8 has been out for how long at this point?
a while.
Like, granted, it's now the Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they'll finally do Mario Kart 9.
I'm thinking that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay. So Mario Kart 9, um, Smash is done.
Um.
I think he's said that he's Smash Ultimate. He wanted that to be his final thing. What I
Yeah.
think might happen is they might just port that. And
Yeah. I think
basically
they'd probably just re-release it.
maybe they'll like um maybe they'll add like some extra characters or whatever, but they're just gonna be like, okay, this is the definitive version. We're not gonna make maybe we'll update it a little bit, but that's this is the ultimate version. It has every single character. There's like nothing. There's very little that we can do to make it be any better. So we're not gonna.
Yeah.
So if you have the game, you can port it over to your current console, or you can purchase the new version of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like it's got to be backwards compatible anyway. So.
yeah, I think that no matter what we do, what happens, I think that it's going. The next Switch console is going to be backwards compatible. Um, but one thing that I'm thinking about that as well is that um, Nintendo is kind of in this weird situation. Has always been in this weird situation where they basically do a new console that is
Oh.
not backwards compatible, and then the next console is backwards compatible. Um, I think they've been doing that since the for the main consoles they did it. So it was we was it, well actually GameCube wasn't able to play
Nope.
any of the previous games, but the Wii was able to play the GameCube games, and then the Wii U was able to play the Wii U games. I'm not 100% certain if it could play the GameCube games.
But the reason that GameCube couldn't play the old games is because they switched from a cartridge to a disc,
Yeah.
not because they didn't want to.
Yeah, and then they did the same thing with this, where it went to cartridge, and the same thing went for the Game Boy. The Game Boy was able to each Game Boy was able to play all previous Game Boy games, and that continued all the way up until the DS. And then when they switched to the 3DS, it was only able to do the 3DS and DS games, and now the
Right.
Switch is only able to play Switch games.
Yeah.
And so I'm not exactly certain how they're gonna do that, um, because I feel I don't know. I think it would be really interesting if they did allow you to, um, with the Switch 2, maybe in handheld mode you can play any Switch, whether it be Switch or Switch 2 game, and then but in docked form, maybe you can it'll have a little setup so you can play any of the disc games.
That'd be kind of neat.
And I'm not certain exactly how they would go about with that, but I think that would be cool. So yeah, so yeah, you would have all of your disc games, and you could so if it's whether it's a Switch or it's a or not a Switch, whether it's a GameCube or a Wii or a Wii U, maybe not GameCube, but at the same time, I think that it would still a lot of people still like their GameCubes, so
I still have mine.
yeah. So, but at the same time, people
You can play with my cold dead hands.
don't.
You can play, and because until they port Sonic Riders literally anywhere else, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of I think it's kind of weird because like some people are like, yeah, let me switch when a new console when a new generation comes out, let me just switch to that new console. While other people like us are like, no, I want to keep all of my old consoles.
That's me.
Yeah, that's both of us. I still have my PS3, my PS2. I bought a PS2 relatively recently, but I still have my PS3, my PS4, my Wii, my both my Switch and my OLED. Um and then what else do I have? I have a few things. I have a lot of consoles. We still have my dad's old NES.
Nice.
So there's that. Um, so technically, yeah, we skipped a few generations. Like we don't have a GameCube, we don't have the SNES, we don't have the Wii U. But to be fair, not very many people had the Wii U. It was kind of a flop. So
Yeah, it definitely was.
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued though with the Switch too, because one thing that I'm kind of concerned about is this Nintendo is kind of falling behind at this point in time when it comes to the console wars, and with the fact that Xbox is kind of like, we're kind of dropping out of the console wars. I think someone needs to keep PlayStation in their place, and I'm hoping that that Nintendo will be able to do that.
I mean, you can hope all you want, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like the biggest thing is that it needs to be at least able to play be stronger. I think that's a big thing that I would like to see from the Switch.
A lot of people are blaming the Switch for things, though, when we have Breath of the Wild, which has incredible graphics on it. So
Yeah. I'm not saying that they're bad graphics or anything like that. It's also it's more of it's just because I think people look at it and they're like, "Oh, it's it is clearly not as powerful as even a PS4. It is about the level as a PS3, and that includes the OLED, which is what I've played most of my Pokemon. I played Scarlet and Violet almost exclusively on the OLED. I think I played a little bit on the original Switch, but yeah. But yeah, so like I don't have any issues on the OLED, but I know that a lot of
Me
people
neither.
do. Huh?
Me neither.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem is that for one, not everybody has the OLED because it's expensive.
True.
But at the same time, I think that what people are really concerned about is that if a third party person at this point in time, if a third party creator wants to put their game onto consoles, if they want to be really well done and like the best that they possibly can, oftentimes they are forced to go to either Sony or Xbox or PC, and that's it. Meanwhile, because the Nintendo Switch just isn't necessarily going to be able to handle every single game. So, I would say so. Here's my what I would say about the different consoles. I would say that the regular Switch is probably at the same level as the PS3. The
That's fine there, yeah.
the OLED is about the level of the PS4 ish, like maybe like a few steps below, somewhere between PS3 and PS4. I want the Nintendo Switch 2 to at least be somewhere between PS4 and PS5. It does not have to be at the same level as the PS5, but I think that it should be close.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
And like I said, I'm not too concerned with it because of the fact that with the Nintendo Switch, and I'm assuming with the Switch 2 when that eventually comes out, it's more going to be about the ability to have it be portable and the ability to have it be something that kids can play on, and they won't have to be like, because that's kind of been Nintendo's idea from the get go, that it's the Nintendo is for kids, and that's their target demographic, and they've succeeded really
Which is,
well.
I think, another important thing to realize when we're talking about graphics and how, oh my gosh, the graphics are so bad. Well, yeah, it's designed for, like, children.
Yeah.
Children don't give much of a shit.
Yeah. But, like, even then, it just, like, I'm looking currently at a grassy field in Pokemon. It's really well done. And I understand why some people would be like, oh, we need better graphics and stuff like that. This is about the same level as Final Fantasy XIV is currently. And 14 is, like, granted, 14 is a much more realistic style. But I think that the grass is probably the best example of it, because that's about where it is currently in 14. Granted, they are about to do a massive graphical update, and things are going to look a lot better in that. But at the same time, it's, I don't know. I think my biggest concern with doing with continuing to update graphics, especially if it's a cartoony style, which the Pokemon and most Nintendo games are, is that you don't really need to go that much more in depth than what it currently is. But I do think that playability is probably the most important detail when it comes to this, because a lot of people, there's often been times where people will be lagging or crashing and stuff like that, or I don't know. There's lots of different things with it, and I'm not gonna be shit. We're not here to shit talk the console. It's just some things that we've noticed. But like, if I look off in the distance, if I'm in a town, the town looks pretty good. It's not bad. there's a few rough edges, but then you look towards the distance, and like the tree is just a green blob off in the distance.
In what game?
In Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah,
Which
that's true.
That's not a bad thing, but at the same time, I understand why some people are like, "Why is it not detailed?" Blah 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 blah. I don't know. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, I'm like, there's certain things that should be better, and there's certain things that it doesn't necessarily need to be better.
Agreed.
So I don't know. It's a really big. It's a conversation that I'm sure that Nintendo is having a lot of these conversations. What do we want to do? How do we want to move forward with this? And for certain game companies, is it necessarily going to be worth it to update to be 1,000, whatever, however many times better than it currently is? And for like Pokemon, I don't really think that they need to do too much of an upgrade.
I would agree. It's designed to be cartoony and simple. That's been always the idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they were to make it more complex and they were to make it more realistic, then it would lose like a good chunk of its charm, if not all of its charm.
Yeah. I would say at this point in time that Scarlet and Violet / Legends Arceus, because I also really enjoyed Arceus. Arceus was like
I did too.
It's such a good game. I would say that those two are currently the peak, and I don't see them going much higher. I think that if they are going to do anything with updating like graphics or anything like that, most of it should be in the battle animations. Because
yeah, I keep behind that.
Because a lot certain battle animations, it's like, okay, what exactly is happening here? Because often and they don't really feel like they have the force behind them as like in other games. If you get what I'm saying. So
yeah,
I don't know. I like I said, we'll see how that goes. I think, like, my biggest thing that I'm thinking about is like, so if I have one of my Pokemon do flamethrower, it's not coming out of their mouth. They basically create like a beam just like a few inches from their mouth, and then it will, and that's where the fire comes from. Well, I personally, I would like to have it so that when a Pokemon uses a flamethrower, it actually comes out of their mouth.
Or wherever they're shooting it from, yeah.
Exactly, or wherever they're shooting it from. And that doesn't feel like it's currently happening. I don't know. So I think that I think mostly it's animation issues that they need to fix. Another detail that I would like to see is being able to ride on your Pokemon more, or hang out with your Pokemon. They have made significant improvements to this, where you're at this point you're now able. It's pretty much standard practice, since I want to say, I would say Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, that you're able to have a Pokemon out with you, whether even if it's not necessarily the best way or whatever, but having a Pokemon be able to walk around with you is a given. But I also think that there needs to be more Pokemon that you can like ride or stuff like that, because at this point in time,
let's go back to having a different Pokemon do each thing. Like, not one who does all five, but one who can climb, one who can, like they had in the old games when it was, you had to have a Pokemon that you taught surf to swim,
Yeah. Like, I do agree that there's, like, certain things that HMs were bad, because it would cause you to waste a move on that movement ability. But I think that what they could have done is have it be something that it's a learned ability.
But those moves still had value in those moves still had value in battle. So it wasn't like you were losing out on a battle move. You still had cut or surf or whatever. So I'm not saying do the HMs again, because again, you're right, HMs were kind of dumb. But to have just an opportunity where any Pokemon who knows the move rock climb can climb. Any Pokemon who knows the move surf can swim. You can ride on in the water.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know, that
yeah.
kind of.
They, I think they did that with Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu a little bit. Like it wasn't every single Pokemon, but there were several Pokemon that you could ride around on, and there were several Pokemon that you could swim on, and there were several Pokemon that you could fly on, and so on and so forth. Um,
Cool.
and I think that that is something that they need, that they should absolutely continue to do. Um, like obviously not, you're not going to be riding on every single Pokemon or flying on every single Pokemon, but I don't know, something like that. Um, Also, a better flying mechanic at some point. I don't think that that's going to happen in ZA. But like, granted, with the update recently for with Scarlet and Violet after you complete the game, you are able to fly pretty much everywhere you want now.
This is true.
So I think that that was a good thing that they added, but I kind of wish that they added that sooner rather than waiting for the DLC to come
I
out.
honestly don't think they had it coded until the DLC came out.
Yeah, I think that it was mostly a time constraint situation with that. Like they needed to get the game out, and that's why they didn't do it. So,
Wait, what? That's interesting.
but yeah, I don't know.
I got a shiny Veluza, and it looks legit.
Oh, nice.
That's interesting.
So somebody was an idiot. Nice. Or someone is giving up on Pokemon. That's another option.
It looks legit. I mean, obviously I can't read Japanese, but it looks. It doesn't have like insane stats.
Well, send me a picture and I can take a look at it.
Here, let's see.
Why don't you come stay with us? It's the perfect place to
Yeah.
before your surgery.
Right? What?
That sounds absolutely wonderful. He's right. There will be plenty of people to take care
The original trainer and the name should tell you if it's legit or not.
of. Leave me when I
Yeah,
say.
But yeah,
that looks legit. Just based off of what I'm seeing.
Like, and looking at the stats, it's not. They're not crazy either.
Interesting. So I guess they someone either someone accidentally sent you that, or they thought it was fake, so they sent it to you. But yeah, that looks legit to me.
No, that's legit to me. That's cool.
Nice,
That's nice.
nice.
Well, I don't know why I sent the rocket. Sorry.
You're good.
I'm gonna send that one to the group.
Nice.
Not carrying.
But I don't know. I think that I don't know. Needless to say, I'm excited for what they're gonna keep doing with Pokemon. I think that
Ready with 100.
I think there are gonna be some things that are gonna be interesting. But I'm also I do think that part of the reason why they're not doing a big trailer at this point in time for the game is just because of the fact that they are planning on finishing basically since the Switch's lifespan is nearly at its end, get a good game out to get like spend the time that they need to get a good version of Pokemon out to the people, and then release it as like maybe it will be the first their first game on the Nintendo Switch 2.
I get behind that and have a whole ceremony. As long as they do something for the 30th anniversary, I'm fine.
Yeah, what is the when is the 30th anniversary?
I believe it's 2025. It might be 2026. I haven't checked recently.
Okay, I need to check that then because
Hold on. Look at the book. So, folks, the book.
Time I try to get over.
1995.
so that's next year.
Next year.
Okay.
Yep.
Or is it? Wait.
Ooh, I got a Fluttermane via trade. That's cool.
So Pokemon 30th anniversary.
Please don't be something sad. Oh no, you're just a.
So yeah,
Okay.
so the
Yeah.
25, yeah. So in that case, let me take a look here. Am I crazy? Am I thinking? Maybe I'm saying the wrong date for Pokemon ZA. When is Pokemon? We might have been saying the wrong thing for this entire time. I think I think it is 2025. What am I thinking? Because there's no game coming out this year. Yeah, it's 2025.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
Grab my arm.
We've been saying 26 the entire time. There's no game coming out this year.
Right.
So, I don't know. My hope is that they will do something big. And maybe Legends ZA is their big game for the anniversary.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a possibility. But also wondering, like, maybe they're going to do some other smaller games as well, and that's why it's taking them so long. That's why it's so one. Obviously, they're taking their time to make sure that it's the best possible game for the anniversary.
God, I hope so.
But also maybe they're also working on some other smaller games. Like, what if they're doing Pokemon Pal Park coming back or some shit like that?
That would be cool. I would be here for that.
Yeah. Or maybe or another thing that I would love to see is them porting every single Switch game to or every single Pokemon game onto whatever console is, whether that be the Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever is coming out at that time. I want to see something massive where you can play any of the games, because
Yeah, no, that would be amazing.
like it's so hard to come across some of those.
If Nintendo has made it, play it on the Switch. That would be, I mean, ideal.
Yeah,
But for Pokemon, for the 30th anniversary, if they could do a major port of all
every single game.
generations, yes.
Yeah, I think. Here's what I'm kind of what I would be ideal for me. Firstly, all of the base game, every single regular main series game, all ported. If it was like on the Switch, maybe it doesn't need to be ported, and you can just use your cartridge and pass it over. But if it was like anything from 3DS back, everything gets ported up. And same thing goes for like all of the smaller games. Everything gets ported up. Like, Hey You Pikachu, like we can do that now with the just like with the base Joy-Cons, I believe, right? Don't the Joy-Cons have a mic, or am I crazy?
They do.
Yeah. So you could do you could bring Hey You Pikachu over, and the Pal Parks and Stadium. We all know how much everyone wants Stadium, as well as XG to come in,
True.
What happened?
which
That is true.
I would love. I haven't played those, and I want them to be ported. So,
Oh, don't worry.
and many more games need many more of their just smaller games that they have like their dedicated fan bases should all be ported to the to whatever console it is. Like I said, I feel like I don't know the exact day off the top of my head. But imagine if, like, for that anniversary, hopefully it is after the Switch 2 comes out, and then they could just be like, hey, we ported everything. And if there is something that we missed, let us know, and we will do our best to make sure that we get everything ported. We think we got everything, but if we missed anything, let us know, or some shit like that.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, maybe it doesn't have to be every single thing, because not every single one of the Pokemon games was extremely well received or anything like that. But
No, all of them.
huh?
All of them.
Yeah, ideally all of them, but I know that not every single one was received well, so they may be like a little bit less inclined to do so. unless like
Start with the main line and then go from there.
yeah, start with the main series, get everything that is in the mainline games, then do Pal Park and uh, Stadium because those two are extremely well liked, and then do Pokemon Ranger and Mystery Dungeons because those are also
Mystery Dungeon, yes.
like obviously they're not for everyone, but at the same time they have their dedicated fan bases, and I think that you're missing out if you don't port those.
Agreed.
To be fair, I haven't played a Mystery Dungeon in so long at this point.
It's been a minute.
So, I think the last one I played was the one on the 3DS, and I don't think I even got even close to finishing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think they did recently port one to the Switch, but I don't. It might have been a port Switch, or it might have been a remake or some shit like that. So I don't know for sure though.
Well,
Um,
that's not legit, but it sure is a handy thing to not have to deal with now.
what's not legit?
Oh, it's a Malamar that's named PokemonCafe.com.
Oh, we probably should.
And it's shiny level 100, and like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
like,
so fake.
Yeah. It's gen. It's not, I mean, fake. Hacked and fake are very different. It's generated, which means it's not it's not against the rules to have it, but it's not it's not playing within the typical guidelines.
Yeah. You could still get banned from an official tournament if you played with it.
Yeah, if you tried to play with one that was named like that, yeah. But if you named it properly and weren't an idiot about it, it would be fine.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know that if you call a Pokemon Pocket Watch, it doesn't work?
If you do what?
If you try to nickname a Pokemon Pocket Watch, it doesn't work.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's it has something to do with the fact that like the last T of Pocket and then Watt. I don't know why, but yeah, it has something to do with because that's in there.
I mean, yeah, they are that picky about it, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of funny though because it's like if you're like. What so what if I wanted to call Pokemon Dictate?
Well, so DIC is okay, but not DICK.
Yeah, that's true. But it's kind of that's kind of my point though. Is like, what if it's just something that happens to have this what if I what if I want to name a Pokemon Assumption or something?
Yeah, no, you can't. It's true.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand not wanting Assassin, but Assumption? I don't know. I'm.
Oh, look, another fake Haunter.
Oh, how sad.
No, it's always sent, and they're always sent as Ghastlies. Or not Ghastlies. Gengar. Or Haunter, and then they evolve into whatever, Gengar.
Oh, so they're not even putting so they're not putting Everstones on them?
No.
So you have to wait for the frickin' evolution?
Yep.
What fun.
It's great. But now I'm getting rid of it because I don't like it. The shiny Gengar is pretty much worthless anyway, especially if it's gen.
Yeah. Shiny that's another thing that I would like them to do with in the next Pokemon game. Maybe update some of the really hard to spot shinies. And like
to make them actually look shiny.
Yeah, exactly. Like Gengar is one of those that like make him white. Like it'd be to match his...
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that is like one of the best parts of the fact like if you get a shiny in like any game that you have a Gigantamax or a Mega Evolution, you want shiny Gengar because then it's white and it looks ghostly and ghoulish. I love those Gengars. They're so good. But wasn't I feel like there was a in the anime someone had a shiny Gengar and you don't realize that it's shiny until it mega evolves.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? It wasn't Ash, was it?
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't Ash. I'm crazy. Ash's only shiny Pokemon at this point in time is frickin' Noctowl. We all know that.
Yes.
Which I still think is just hilarious that that I think it was his first Johto Pokemon is shiny, and then he just
Yeah.
and then he never caught another shiny after that,
Right.
and now he's never gonna get another shiny because he's no longer part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is also a little bit sad to see him no longer part of the show.
Yeah, but I do think that the next generation, it's kind of the Toy Story situation we have going on. Next generation.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I do have to say, I think it's weird that Liko and Roy are I don't know, they're decent characters for sure, but they're not Ash. They're not. I don't know. I'd like to see more from what they could do, and at this point in time, Liko and Roy just don't. Like they're good characters, and I can see what they want to do with the story, but at the same time, I miss Ash and his nonsense.
Yeah, that's fair.
But to be fair though, Ash was starting to go downhill very quickly in the anime. Like
Still being 10 and only having caught like 6 Pokemon ever is like kind of sad.
yeah, like Grant in Alola he actually won the Elite Four, but that or he won the championship, and then in Journeys he became like the best champion or whatever. But even with that, it just kind of felt like they were trying like Alola felt like it was making up for how a lot of people felt like Ash had been cheated from getting from becoming champion. He had been cheated like twice at that point because first off in Sinnoh he got his ass beat by a frickin' not Mega Evolution by a legendary, and then
Oh yeah, that goes to the goes to the Poke Center. Wow, it looks like it took a beating. Yeah, it was her face.
well that's in the show or the movie. In the in Gen 4 which was the Sinnoh stuff, Ash like goes up against this guy who has a Darkrai, and the Darkrai whoops his ass.
Well, yeah.
And Ash is the only one in the entire group that was able to defeat the Darkrai, and he was able to get to the second Pokemon, which is a fucking Latios.
Oh boy.
And so he beats this guy, and he beats the frickin' Darkrai, and then loses to the Latios, and it's just like, dude, what the fuck? And he, I don't know, he did so much training and so much prepping for that just to lose at that last moment, and it's just like, that feels cheap. That really feels cheap. Like, at that point, I would have been like, Ash, just call up your like. One of the things I was thinking at that point is, Ash, you've noticed that there's this guy, that this guy has legendary Pokemon. At this point in time, call up your legendary Pokemon friends and have them be like, hey, I need help. This guy is cheating and using other legendary Pokemon. Can you guys give me a hand?
Literally.
Like, you could bring out Lugia or, because, like Lugia and the three birds are his friends at this point. Like they practically serve him. I don't like Jirachi and Celebi are not. He couldn't talk to them, as well as I don't think he was able to really do too much with like any of the legendaries for Sinnoh. But like, oh, there were a few. There's a lot of legendary Pokemon that he's met at that point, and yet for some reason, yeah.
Oh, well, Blissey, that's handy.
So, I don't know. So he was cheated on that, and then the only reason that he didn't win against the in X and Y in Kalos was because of the fact that the other person swapped his Pokemon, and when that swapped his Scizor when it was nearly defeated, and as such, Ash had to when Ash and the beat his Charizard, they did both of their Pokemon went down at the same time, meaning that Ash lost because he wasn't able to take out the Scizor that got swapped. So
That's so annoying.
it's so annoying. And legitimately, if that Scizor had not been swapped, it would have been a tie. Like, Ash was about to beat the Scizor, and then he swaps the Scizor out, and it's just like, fuck. I don't know. To be fair, and, another thing about that is that this guy is a freaking criminal at this point, and everyone knows it. So it's just like, dude, this guy's a criminal. Why in the world are we letting him become the champion?
True.
So I don't know. So there's that. I don't know. It's funny. It's stupid. I kind of like it, but I don't know. Alola feels like he's the dumbest at that in that season, and then Journey's he's dumb, but he doesn't feel like he's at his dumbest. That would
Alright.
I feel like that's Alola, but he still feels dumber than he was in X and Y. So I don't know. That's a big moon.
Oh.
That's another thing that I find just kind of insane about Pokemon is that the moon is always massive. Like, granted, that's the case for for almost every video game, but the moon is always massive. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's large.
Wasn't the moon bigger though in Arceus?
Yeah, I think there was a video someone did on the sizes of the moon in Pokemon.
Like, granted, we've only seen the moon twice at this point. Once in like in Arceus, and then this. And like in Arceus, it's much bigger. And
Yeah.
like, granted, for Arceus, it makes sense that it would be bigger because you actually had to look at the moon in order to find out if you could evolve your freaking Pokemon.
True.
But another aspect of that is, that kind of makes sense because the moon is slowly drifting away. Like, it would not be that massive of a difference over like what the 100 or so years between the two between Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, but
Is it only 100 years?
I think it's more than 100 years, but I'm just saying it that because that makes sense. I think it's a few hundred years at this point, I think, but it's nowhere near like 1,000 or whatever, and it looks like the moon's size looks like it's been like several thousand years between those two games.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, very, very weird. Although with that said, that also means that in ZA, technically the moon should be even bigger. Because that's gonna be even further in the past, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah.
because that's supposed to be like what shortly after AZ just destroyed everything, and that was like 9,000 years ago
Yeah.
or some shit like that.
Yep.
Oh, AZ. Speaking of which, I'm actually really excited to see what story they're gonna go with for that, and if they're actually gonna let you be able to catch AZ's Floette.
That would be interesting.
Like maybe it's not necessarily that you're catching AZ's Floette, but rather AZ's Floette basically had a flower that was like way more common at that era, and so you can get Flabebe and Floette and maybe maybe
Flower.
is like really powerful or something.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's not even Florges. Maybe it's like some other. Maybe it evolves into something completely different.
Yeah.
Also,
That's abominable.
do you think that that they're going to add any Mega Evolutions?
You know, that is a good question. I have no idea because I think people have been asking for it enough that they very well might, but they've also been asking for it enough that they very well might not. Like, it could literally go either way because people have been begging.
Yeah. Like, I will say this, that I think that Pokemon knows that Mega Evolutions were probably the favorite mechanic that they have done.
Yeah.
I think that Gigantamax is the second favorite. Then it's either, I don't know. I think Z moves were not well liked. I don't think that they're going to be doing Z moves anytime soon.
No, Z was not a good thing.
I think terrestrialization has not been accepted really well, but it's been better off than than Z moves were for sure. So I don't know.
I
don't know.
It's not. People think it's tacky, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that so obviously Mega Evolutions are going to come back with Legends ZA. I'm kind of wondering though if they're going to just make Mega Evolution be something that is just going to be in every game from this point forward. Because people have been asking for them to for Mega Evolution to come back since it left.
True.
So I don't know. It's hard to say for sure. I don't think that people like. I think that there will be some people who will ask for Z moves back, but I don't think that that's going to be. I feel like people would ask for Gigantamax more, and I think that people are asking for Gigantamax more than Z moves.
Yeah. I haven't seen a single person want a Z move.
Yeah, like I think like I don't even remember using Z moves when I was like I think I maybe used one in the one per major battle, and that was it. And that was because I felt like I needed to. Because it's a big new mechanic, and it's like. And then I think when I started playing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I was just like, I don't need to worry about it too much. So, I don't know. I think that there's a chance that they will continue to that will come back at some point, but I don't think people really care about it. And that's another thing as well with Alola is that I don't expect them to make a Legends Alola game ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Like
it was not a well received season.
No, it was not a well received generation or anything like that. And the other aspect with that is that there's really not that much lore. There's more lore in Galar and Paldea, and there's even more lore in frickin' Kanto that has been left to unexplored. But at the same time, I don't think that they're going to make a Kanto Legends game either. I think that if they're going to make anything, they're going to make a Legends Johto game, and then that Legends Johto game is going to include Kanto.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, yeah. I don't know. That's my thought process. So, also, with since this is after Legends ZA, we can probably expect there to be a the next gen, Pokemon Gen 10. So what do you think they're going to do for that?
Something insane. I have no idea. I'm hoping they pick a country that they haven't done before that's kind of bizarre. Maybe like Russia, Germany, Australia. I don't know. Something they haven't done
Yeah.
that is open to a lot of new and more creative Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
Because I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of tired of the cupcake.
the cupcake.
Like literally anything. The fact that anything can be a Pokemon, we've got like a cupcake and an ice cream cone and just, I mean,
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. Like I like a lot of the new ones, and then there's always a few that you're like, why was that what you went with?
Yeah, that's fair.
What are the odds this shiny Psyduck is legit?
-2.
0.
I said -2, but yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not 0 every time, but it's like it's a 1% chance.
Yeah,
I mean, you got the shiny Veluza, which is legit.
I did. That's true.
Like, but I think that's less than a hundred. That's less than a 1% chance even, because you've gotten more than 100 shinies, right? That were genned.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it's low.
I always feel bad when surprise trades of the genned Pokemon go to someone who doesn't use Arabic letters, because I always think maybe they don't know that that's like a website.
Well,
Not a name.
I think that .com is still used in like almost every country. Or
That one was like .shop, or there was .co the other time.
yeah, so like a lot of game, no matter what the country is, they usually they'll have like a dot whatever, and that will be what you really need to worry about. And then like if you see a dot in a different language, then it's gonna be like, oh, that's probably not a real Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because like I know that Japan will use like a dot co or some or dot jp or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So
I saw something.
yeah, there's that. But anyways, what else is there? There's I don't know. I think that the biggest problem with ZA is that there's just not that much information at this point in time. And like I understand why they're doing that, but at the same time it's going to be like we have to wait so long. Maybe you should actually give us some information.
I can roll with that. Yeah. Give me some info.
Yeah, like maybe I don't know, maybe give us like an image of maybe like a small trailer of your trainer or whatever, or maybe put in the starters or some shit like that. I don't know.
I'm okay not knowing the starters, but I would love to know if we can personalize our avatar more than a uniform again.
Yeah, well, I think that they're definitely going to do that because Arceus did that, I think, didn't they?
To some extent, yeah.
Like, it was much less, but they also had less clothing.
Yeah.
So, but I also think that they're going to be doing more with clothing anyways, as the they did so much with like other outfits, and everyone knows people have made it very clear they want more than just the uniforms for the next game. They want to be able to customize their characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is honestly pretty fair. With after Sword and Shield, where you could customize god dang near everything, and then going to a uniform, we were like, "Are you fucking serious with this shit?"
Yeah, and I think that the biggest problem with it is just that Yeah, people. We want to customize our characters, but also don't pull a Pokemon Go. That's unacceptable.
You know that the Uncanny Valley was just a little too much there.
Yeah, there's so much wrong with the recent Pokemon Go update, and it was just like, can you not?
Time for you to
If we could wipe that from our minds, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we've been recording for about an hour. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this nerd chat, and we will see you guys next time. But on.